is the biggest thing ever except for the creation. In verse 16, for the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, with the trump of God, and so forth. So the shouting, the trumpets are blowing, and like you said, God had them march around the city, the whole army, carrying the ark, one time a day, once a day, 6 days. So at the end of 6 days, they'd gone around 6 times. On the 7th day, they went around 7 times the same day. So that's God who commanded them to do it that way. And God, you have 13 total times, but he broke it up. He broke it up. 6 was done differently than the 7. 7 all in one day. And that's what Bob was saying in 2 Peter 3, where the Bible mentions 2 earths. It speaks of the first earth destroyed by the flood, and the second earth, which is now, it says, which will be destroyed by fire, or, at the end of time, the last day, everything will burn. And then when you look from creation, which we can pinpoint, I don't think we mentioned it yet. The creation date, according to the Bible, is 11,013 BC. God creates the world, as Genesis recounts. Adam is formed, and then you can start counting from creation date to the flood, and we can know precisely. We're not guessing, because it's from the Bible. The Bible's truth. From creation to the flood, 6,023 years exactly. Why 23? 23 in the Bible is a tribulation number. So we see God went 6,000 years like the army marched around Jericho 6 times. Then from the flood in 4990, I'll just make a little detour. From the flood in 4990 to the cross in 33 AD, how long is that? 4990 plus 33, 5,023 calendar years. Well, from creation to the flood was 6,023. And now to another major, incredibly huge event, Christ on the cross, 5,023. Fullness of thousands of years, 23-year, like a tribulation period. Well, going back to the flood day, 4990, then go, because they went around 7 times after 6, then go 7,000 years, and from the flood, we're actually directed in the Genesis account, Genesis 7 verse 4, God told Noah, yet 7 days. 2 Peter 3, just so happens to say 1 day is as 1,000 years in the context of discussing the flood and the end of the world right in the middle. 1 day is 1,000 years. So the 7-day reference to Noah goes 7,000 years from the flood, and it takes you to 2011. And the underlying Hebrew calendar date for May 21, 2011 is the 17th day of the second month, the very day the flood began. But anyway, there's your 7 times round, and it lands on May 21, 2011. And May 21, 2011 is the 13,000th, 23rd year from creation. However, we can back up to the flood once again, and from the flood to 2033 is 7,023 calendar years, matching those other key biblical dates where something big happens. It's the biggest thing ever except for the creation. When God destroyed the world with the flood at that time, it was, of course, the biggest thing ever when Christ came into the world and went to the cross to show forth what he had done at the foundation of the world. And it's the biggest thing ever for all mankind for God to finally do what he has said he would do, which is to bring total and utter destruction to the whole world. And that's what we're looking towards at this point in the year 2033, the end of all things. And what happened to Jericho? 6 times around, then the seventh day 7 times around. After 13 times around, what happened to Jericho? The walls fell down. Joshua, and by the way, the name Jesus is basically the name Joshua. Joshua is the Hebrew. Jesus would be the Greek form. And so Joshua and the army of Israel went into the city Jericho and killed every man, woman, and child. Total destruction for Jericho, except for a harlot and her house and all within that house, Rahab the harlot, because she received the spies with peace, which was really language indicating she received Christ, the gospel, and she received the scarlet thread on her window protecting her. Her house was on the wall, so her house didn't fall. So everything you can picture, I don't know how God would have done that. How does God do so many things? But here's this enormous wall around the city. After 13 times, and they shout and the trumpets blow, the whole wall collapses, but there's this one thin little, sometimes you go through, say, a block in Philadelphia, West Philly or something, and you see all the houses have been demolished, but there's one house just standing, and on either side, it used to be row homes. They're all gone. Just that one house. Well, that would have been Rahab the harlot's house standing, and she lived, and everyone within her house lived. And that's what God has done with his salvation. We're not covered by a scarlet thread. We're covered by the blood of Christ. It's the same imagery, really, as the Passover blood, the blood of the Lamb, protecting the Israelites' house when the destroyer came through Egypt.
We consider that a luxury, Chris, when there's no neighbors beside you. We consider that a luxury when you don't have your road, even though it has a negative connotation. That's a luxury.
I live on a row, but I'm at the end of the row, so I have partial
50%.
Yep.
But so Chris, I've been listening to the timeline for quite some time, and there are some good studies, like on housetops. Someone actually says, get a pen and paper, and you can kind of do the work yourself. There's a good study done by John McGowan that I have my son listen to and children. And with a piece of pencil and a paper, they can do the numbering themselves. But this didn't come easy. There's been a lot of correction by the word of God. And I'm not sure if any of you gentlemen would like to talk about how, it's painstaking. We touched on it before. It's so smooth and effortless now, but I'm sure there's lots of hours of prayer, patience, and waiting on the Lord for these answers.